Welcome. My name is Susan and this is the KOBAN podcast. With our podcast, we will take you on a journey across all our partners in the project. Today, my guest is Jordy Mulder. Jordy, welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Would you please be so kind to give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Jordy Mulder. I'm 32 years old and I'm working as a neighborhood police officer for the last 2 years now. And before that, I was working almost 12 years in different roles with the police. But most of the time, I was in the emergency response surveillance.
And now you are collaborating in the project KOBAN.
Yeah, since last year.
Since last year. Yeah. Your pilot has something to do with immigration or migrants.
Yeah.
You're working with COA.
Yeah.
Can you tell me something about the COA location?
Well, the COA location in my area is separated in 2 boats. They're floating hotels, so to say. And we have a population of 1,000 immigrants there from different countries of the world, but mostly speaking Arabic, Somalian, Turkish, not so much English and Dutch.
Not that much.
Not that much. No. Yeah, we have. They're all adult men, women, and a part of them is LGBTQ+, and they all stay at different levels of the boat.
And you have 2 different kinds of locations.
Yeah, but it's all in the same. It's all the same location, but it's separated into 2 buildings where they live.
Okay. When we look at the KOBAN concept, it stands for decentralized, local, and problem-oriented policing. How does this philosophy translate to the approach of Zaanstad concerning the immigrant community?
I think because it's a small community and it's easy to maintain contacts and notice early signals, this allows us as the police to have a clear picture of what is happening within the community.
And when we look at reaching out to the hard-to-reach communities, in what way does the deployment of the translator earpieces you are using at the moment in the pilot help you to increase the accessibility and the reach amongst the immigrant community?
In theory, it should happen because the language barrier is removed because of the translating earbuds, and it should be making it easier for both the residents as for the police to communicate. But the research now have shown that especially speaking in one's own language contributes to the building trust.
So also the digital transformation is one of the topics in our project. Mm-hmm. Do you see these earpieces as a first step or as part of something larger to be in a digital strategy or improvement of the relationship in this community you are working on?
For now, I see it as a first step to improve the relationship. The technology is still, so to speak, in its infancy, and I believe it will get much better in the coming years and in the future. And especially in collaboration with the app that we are building with the KOBAN project, this could help remove the major barrier, particularly the language barrier, in the future.
So do you see this pilot leading to any organizational changes within the Zaanstad police force? For instance, in training or mindset of the employees?
Well, we're working on that. In the collaboration with the COA, we are developing a training or an e-learning course that focuses on cultural concepts. Ideally, what we want is for colleagues to receive training on cultural backgrounds and how to deal with them. And COA staff are required to take this course. And I believe a more conscious version of the training is for the police could contribute into better understanding of migrants.
And this is something you are developing after the KOBAN project, or will it stop?
Yeah.
So it will continue after the KOBAN project stops.
Yeah, that will be the ideal picture. Yeah.
Yeah, for us too. We have something like a legacy for the KOBAN project.
Yeah.
When we look at the earpieces, because that's one of the first things you are working on in your pilot, How do you see the collaboration with KOA and the work with the earpieces, but also you as a pilot, how can I say it, pilot leader or contributing in the pilot?
Well, I have a fixed contact with the KOA, which is the location manager, and I have frequently contact with her and I visit her often. For example, to have conversations with residents, and she also calls me when the residents have questions or they have something they want to ask to the police, because they don't really know how the Dutch police is able to help them, because it's all new for them. And I think the translating earbuds could help to provide a more direct contact, which builds more trust and confidence with the inhabitants.
Are also the KOA employees working with the earbuds?
No.
Just the police?
Just the police. It's just a test. We've been issued with 4 earpiece modules. And that's for all the community policing officers that work in a KOA location. So for me, that's 2 colleagues. But what we find with using the earbuds is that it doesn't work as we hoped it would work.
I heard from your colleague Joost that they are not working correctly on the offline module.
But also the online module isn't as we hoped that would be. And that's because of the simple conversations that we have. First of all, when you take out the earbuds, you have to explain in English, which most of the time they also don't understand. You have to explain to put it in their ear and then find the language that they speak. And then also the translation from the earpieces is not as good as we hoped. So when I, for instance, talk to you in Dutch and I ask you a question, most of the time what we see is that the translation from the earbuds isn't as good as we hoped.
Okay.
So if I ask you how is the weather today, he translates it, but for example, into what did you eat today?
Oh, something totally different.
Something totally different. The good thing in the earbuds is that on the screen of the case, it also writes along with the question you ask, but it writes also in the language that your opponent or your the people you talk to know. So if I show you the text, they can read along, and if they don't see the right translation, they can directly say it's not the right translation, so we can try again. But it doesn't work as good as we hoped. The translation isn't as good.
Okay, and in what kind of situations are you using the earbuds?
The most of the situations are the normal daily talk about how are you, how's your stay at the KOA location, how's your family doing, because it's not allowed for us to use the earbuds for policing.
Okay.
Because of the privacy.
Yeah, of course, privacy is always a big part.
Privacy is a big part, and also the earpiece work on a Chinese server. So we don't know what is going to happen with the information that is on the earpieces. So that's the reason why we can also don't ask questions about crimes, for example. So if I'm talking to you about the weather or whatever, then it's all fine. But as you the moment that you say, I want to file a report or I have something urgent to tell you about something that...
Like a crime or something that occurred, yes.
Then I can't use the earbuds anymore and I have to switch to an interpreter.
Do you see any advantages about using the translation earbuds? Because right now you're telling they are not working properly.
Yeah.
You have some difficulties. So are there advantages and challenges? You already talked about the challenges you have encountered, like that it's not translating correctly. So in this pilot, you are using the earbuds as one of the things to how can I say this, to use for better contact and understanding with the migrants. So is it still something you would, at the end of the project, embed in your normal police work, or do you want to go for something else?
Ideally, I'd like to use it because I see there's a lot of potential. But for now, the earpieces that we have right now don't fit what we want because of the lack of translation. It isn't correct. It isn't as good as we want it to be. So in the beginning, we thought this could be a great thing to start a conversation, to build trust with the communities. But what we see while we use them is that it doesn't help as good as we thought it would be.
So, if I understand correctly, it doesn't help with building the trust, or is it just a small part or one step in the right direction?
When it works correctly, how we would like it to work, then I think it will be a perfect extra thing to help building trust, or just talk to the people or help them speaking in their own language without a translator. Mm-hmm. Being there in between.
Yeah.
And it's more, I think it could be a perfect thing for the police to use, but it has to be developed a little bit more.
And the migrants, you tried it on. How were they? Were they skeptic at first, or did they participate like, oh, that's new, let's go and help the police?
A few of them were skeptic. The moments that I used it was on an event. It's called SAIL. Maritime event. We've been there. The COA had a lot of stands and open to the public and everything. And I spoke to a few migrants, explained them what the earbuds were and what I would use them for. And in the beginning, they were skeptic because it's also new for them. Mm-hmm. But when I explained to them what the reason was and why I wanted to try it, they thought it was a nice addition. But they shared the same opinion about it as I did, about not having the right
translation.
So that's a shame.
Yeah, so my next question was about the translation, how you can assure the reliability of that translation, but you cannot assure that because it's not in a correct way.
I think it's not up to us to do that, because it has to be from the company that builds it, has to be developed more.
And also the privacy and the security of the data is also one of the things we still have to look at.
Yeah.
Right now we have about 1 year into the project. Mm-hmm. Do you have any measures for the success of the pilot at this moment?
For the earbuds, I think no, because we briefly used them and we already found out that it wasn't as good as we thought. So that's why for example, don't use them as that often anymore.
So do you have... Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Because I don't think that it's, in this stage, very useful.
Okay. Are there any new things you are using in Zaanstad for the pilot of KOBAN?
Well, we're developing with all our projects, with the project within KOBAN, with all our tech partners, we're developing an app, a single point of interest, that ideally... comes when the COA residents come to the Netherlands, they get placed in an asylum seeker center. They get an information map with information about how it's done in the Netherlands, what the rules are, blah, blah, blah. What we would like to see is that they also find a part of information from the KOBAN project, where it's been explained that they can use the single point of interest, or single point of contact.
Yes.
That they can use to ask the questions they have about their asylum stay, about the police, about filing a report, about whatever. It could be this big. They ask it in their own language. They get set to the police, or transferred to the police, or to the community, or to whoever.
Divided, responding to their question.
Yeah. So the app will help them to have more trust in the Dutch government as a whole, but also in the police, but also in the city and in all the smaller parts that they need for their stay in the Netherlands.
Yes, because they have one point and they have all the information on that app.
Yeah.
And are there people at COA helping them using the app? Or is the police participating in training them to use this application?
Well, we're in contact with COA to find a way to get the app to the community, to the people who live there. And we have conversations with COA, and we're still finding out how to do that. But for example, what we could do is hang a QR code in the common areas where everybody comes, with the point of where they can scan the QR code and then go to the app directly. And also, like I just told you, the folder at their arrival with information about the app.
Okay, that's perfect. So are there any hurdles with the communication or working with the COA?
Not that much. I think the biggest hurdle is to find out how we go with privacy, how we go with data, what to do with the data, where it's been recorded, or is it being recorded,
And for what use?
for what use do we use it?
Yeah.
And we would like to offer them a part in the app that they can ask the questions and leave no details, so it can be anonymous.
Okay, so can they also report a crime in the app, or do you transfer them to something different?
I think it will look like something that they, for example, if they ask, can I file a report because my bike's been stolen, that the app tells them you have to call this number, or you have to go to a police station to make an appointment for your report.
And all in their own language.
All in their own language.
That would be awesome.
Awesome,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah. Something to look forward to.
Yes.
So when we look at the future and the lessons learned, what is the most important lesson or unexpected insight you have gained so far about communicating with the immigrants?
I think that the residents should not be all seen as criminals, but also the people who bring knowledge and skills for our country they fled from, and we should make use of this. And also one of the things I've learned is that it isn't helpful to one day I'll go to the asylum seeker center and to have contact of speak to the people. Another day another colleague comes, another colleagues. From the Erasmus University there was a student who wrote a description about the reason why the people in the co-locations are scared or they don't go to the police that easy. And one of the things that she told us to do, or we should take in consideration, is get a colleague from us that is there on certain times, certain days. So every Wednesday from 12 to 1, always the same colleague.
Yeah.
And ideally it would be a colleague that has the same cultural background as a majority of the people there. So one that looks like them and also speaks their language.
So they can relate to
so
the police officer who is there for them.
Yeah.
That would be perfect because they have the same understanding and principles and stuff like that. So
And not with all, but it could be a start.
always one step ahead. If the pilot you are doing right now is going to be a success, would you deploy it in other districts, or are you using the concept on different groups?
For the earpieces, I think for now, no.
No.
No, we keep it as a pilot, and I think for now that maybe the pilot from the earpieces isn't as good as we hoped it would be. But the other thing, the KOBAN app that we're building right now, I think we can scale it up to the Netherlands, the world, make it as big as you want. Because if it works and we have that single point of contact where they can ask their questions in their own language, where they find all the information they need to help their stay in the Netherlands as comfortable as they want, then we could make it as big as we want.
And also, don't forget the training. I think it's really good for every police officer to connect with different kinds of majorities and backgrounds and stuff like that.
And if we can convince the police academy to give more attention to those trainings, or to make the importance known of the training from the background, I think we can help better police officers as well.
Yeah, so we have more community police officers involved. When we look at the future, and technology is also one of the things that's developing rapidly, also within the KOBAN project, do you see any other technological applications other than the KOBAN Act that can be useful for community policing and multicultural environments?
I think with the coming of AI and all the growth that technology makes now the last few years, there will be a lot of potential, not only for this specific group, but also for policing as a whole.
That's a good one. Artificial intelligence we are using all the time. Before I close, I always ask my guest 2 questions. And those are the ones I find very needful to ask, because with KOBAN we are hoping to build a project that will last for a long time and will help other community police officers in the future. So my question to you will also be, what do you hope people will think of in 10 years when they hear the name KOBAN?
In 10 years, I'll hope that KOBAN will be an European concept where everybody immediately thinks about all the possibilities the project that has offered us, and that every migrant, or even more wide, everyone who uses the app finds it helpful as a specific place where they can find the information and
they need, and to direct them to the right
partners.
Okay.
And if it could be the police, that could be the police, or it could be the ones I just told. You can scale it up as big as you want.
It would be a perfect legacy for the KOBAN project. My last question for you. Who would you like to nominate for the next podcast? We have several partners in the project. We have law enforcement agency, technological partners. We have universities. So which one do you find attractive, or the one who should be next?
I think that I should nominate Timelex because of the legal part and all the issues or the questions we have about legal parts within the KOBAN project. And I think there's a lot of room for Timelex to explain or tell us a little bit more about the possibilities.
Yeah, and I know that they are developing a framework to conduct in the KOBAN project, who has AI-based legal parts, but also all the other parts we need to discuss in the KOBAN project to make it as good as it is. Then I would like to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
This was my podcast for the pilot Zaanstad. Hope to see you next time, and we will be back maybe with Timelex. I don't know. We'll have to check and see. But thank you for watching, and till next time.